Hello everyone. Welcome to Open Table Adventures. I, as always, am Dan the Baker, and today I am here interviewing some lovely people from TTRPG spaces all over the internet. And today we have Caroline. Who are you, Caroline? Give us a
Yay!
overview. Who are you?
Sweet. Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline, aka at Residentsallyjackson on TikTok. I used to make a lot of cosplay content, but now I make TTRPG, D&D meme content. I make meme content about my own campaigns, about campaigns that are in pop culture, and sometimes I go back to cosplay content and make theater content. So yeah, that's a little bit of who I am and why I'm at this interview right now.
Perfect, gorgeous. I just want to ask, where does your username come from? Resident Sally Jackson. What is that? The
Yeah.
origin story.
Yes, of course. So I actually started out on TikTok way back in 2020 in the olden days.
Mhm.
Oh, goodness. And I found a group of people who I'm still friends with to this day. We actually do play D&D together, but we all got back into Percy Jackson together over quarantine. So we read the books, we rewatched the movies, and we are now preparing for the new TV
Mhm.
series. But I got my cosplay kind of jump start, I guess, cosplaying as Sally Jackson. This was before I had red hair, bangs. I had long brown hair with a middle part. And so everyone kept commenting, "Oh, you look like Sally Jackson. You look like Sally Jackson from the books. This is how I picture her." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's just roll with that."
And that's who I
So
am
eventually
now.
yeah, I'm now your resident Sally Jackson.
Perfect. Which is your favorite
Yeah.
Percy Jackson book? I know. Which is
Oh,
your favorite kid? Tell me right now.
my I am always partial to Mark of Athena. Mark of Athena has
Mm,
always been my personal favorite,
Heroes of
and I've
Olympus, yeah.
discovered that a lot of other people really like Mark of Athena as well.
Hmm.
But I think I do have to go with the OG, Lightning Thief, through and through. I reread it so many times. It's funny, it's silly, it's a little sad. It's all the things.
I think Mark of Athena is, I think, my favorite of like Heroes of Olympus, like that series for sure. But yeah, I think Lightning Thief is like if you looked up the perfect way to start a series, it would be the Lightning Thief. Like it just sets up everything so well, and it's just so uh, like well done.
I don't know what Rick put in that book, some secret sauce, some special formula, whatever he
Hmm.
did, lightning in a bottle, quite
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
It's phenomenal.
And you're a theater person too, right?
Yes, I am.
How did you get
Yeah.
into that? Like, what was your first foray into the world of theater?
Yes. So many eons ago, when I was a wee little child, I was a kindergartner, and my school did a production of Alice in Wonderland. And for some reason, they didn't let kindergartners audition. So I got to watch it as part of a school wide field trip type thing. And I saw what they were doing. And I told myself, I have to do that. That looks like so much fun. So then the next year they did Annie Jr. It was my first grade year. I auditioned. I got the role of rich child number 5. I ran across the stage to grab a newspaper and it stuck. It was great.
The
Now
rest is
thankfully I
history.
do more than thankfully now I do
Yeah.
more than running across the stage to grab a newspaper. But I
Hmm.
feel like I emanate that energy sometimes still.
That's valid. You need rich girl number five sometimes. Like, there's no
Ah,
small parts, only small actors. Definitely. And you were, I mean, you were a
absolutely.
small actor because you were in first grade, but that's a different
Yes.
story. And you're in school for musical theater too, right? Like that's, yeah.
Yes, I'm a senior at Oklahoma City University studying musical theater, so I'm really putting all my eggs into this basket.
Yeah. What's your like, it's terrifying. I'm sure everyone's asking you this because it's your senior year, but like, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do in the theater world?
Ooh, this is gonna sound corny. I just want to make art and
Hmm.
enjoy the art I make, which is sad that I have to say, but I truly do just love telling stories and getting to any capacity, directing, performing. just watching something about telling a story and telling a unique and original story is just so palpable. It's so lovely to me. And I'd love to end up in New York, but wherever that takes me, if it takes me across the world, if it takes me just down the street, I'm satisfied. I would also like to get paid, but that's
Whole other story. Yeah. I mean, hey,
that's a whole other story.
there's always room in New York. That's where I live now. So
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, I was just talking to someone earlier about a bunch of just they had just seen a bunch of Broadway shows, and it was like they saw is it Guggenheim? Not Guggenheim. So
Yes.
yeah, the one with
Gutenberg. There we go.
Gutenberg. I was thinking the
With Andrew
yeah.
Reynolds and Josh Gad.
Yeah, they just
Oh,
saw that. They saw that, and then they saw Hadestown right after, and I was like, "That's whiplash. That's emotional
I
whiplash."
feel like that just different vibes, I'd
Yeah.
imagine, seeing Andrew Reynolds and Josh Gad kind of run around in circles,
Mhm.
and then a Greek tragedy.
Yeah.
You know, typical
Um,
Sunday night. Typical Sunday.
Yeah. What would you say is your dream, either your dream role or your dream show to direct? Since I know you're very into directing too as well.
Hmm. Ooh, that's rough. This is what I'll say right now. To direct Alice by Heart by Steven Sater and
Mhm.
Jesse Nelson, that was written by the people who wrote Spring Awakening. It is a gorgeous twist on Alice in Wonderland. It was off Broadway in 2019. It's such a gorgeous show. And then Being, ooh, I feel like my answer always changes, but the one thing that sticks is that I'd love to originate something, create a character for myself. If it's a workshop or even just like a staged reading or something along those lines, I'd love to help create something new. Just
Yeah.
kind of be the embodiment of something someone else created. I don't know, like that just sounds so cool to me.
Hmm. I think being that originating actor is definitely that's like you're putting your mark on that role forever. Like
That's mine.
Alphaba is always gonna be. Oh wow, I'm a bad gay. I just drew a blank on her name. Idina Menzel. Like that's
You're all
that's
good.
she's all
Yeah.
gonna be like that's her role basically. Like that's so I can definitely see that being a dream. Um,
Hmm.
and so how did you get into playing TTRPGs? Like what was your first uh time getting into that?
Yeah. So the overlap of theater kids and TTRPG players, surprisingly, it's a circle. The
It's
Venn
yeah,
diagram is a
yeah.
circle. So I had some friends sophomore year who were watching Dimension 20's Fantasy High. And if you haven't seen it, anyone who's watching, please go watch Fantasy High. It's all free on YouTube. It's subtitled. It's
It's a
wonderful.
classic. It's yeah.
And they all encouraged me to watch it. And the nice thing about Fantasy High is that Brennan Lee Mulligan, who's the game master, is teaching all of these new people how to play as well. So for those of us who didn't know how to play before watching this, it was a play by play almost. Like we were learning with the other players. And that's kind of how I got into it. And then that same group who kind of pushed me to watch it invited me to play one session of combat, which my first time playing D&D was combat. That was kind of exciting.
Mhm.
But they had me come in as a one-time villain against all the other PCs. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And then I was invited to do another campaign and then another. And then I wanted to do one myself. So I asked some of my friends, it's like, hey, do you want to be in a campaign? And yeah, now the snowball is just plowing down this hill.
Mhm. It's addicting for sure. It's you get that first bite and you're like, "Oh no, this is going to be bad for me." This
More.
is yeah.
Need more.
It's actually funny. My first, kind of big step into playing D&D specifically was my college was doing She Kills Monsters, which is a play
Oh,
about
yes.
people who play D&D basically, and the director had the main cast like playing a game, like they had them play a game of D&D to like as like kind of a bonding, and also
That's so silly.
do that.
You know
And
something also incredibly silly?
mhm,
My school has also done She Kills Monsters, and the cast also played a really big one shot
mhm.
as a whole cast before doing their own show. I think that's just the way you have to do She Kills
Yeah,
Monsters.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, just like he was. It was, I wasn't a part of it. I was on the outside
Mhm.
looking in. I was doing another show at the time, but hearing them talk about it, and like they talked about all, like they got really into it. They even kept playing after the show was done, and that was my like bite of like, oh, they're doing this really fun thing. I should look into it. And then I started playing. Then I started DMing. Um,
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
love it.
How long have you been DMing for? Like, how long has that game been going on?
So I have multiple different games going on because I'm
Mhm.
crazy.
Of course,
I
same.
did a couple one shots over the summer with my friends. So I did a one shot and then a very tiny campaign. I ran another one shot with some friends here that's going to lead into another campaign. And then I'm doing one with all my Percy Jackson TikTok friends that's been ongoing, I'd say for about a year. I think we started last September, October ish.
Okay.
So in all, five, two of which are still ongoing.
Okay. Cool. Do you find the like your theater knowledge and expertise plays into your like play style and your DM style?
Absolutely. The it helps with the immersion more so than like the narrating or because me, if your players and you get into the immersion of it, everything else is gonna follow.
Mhm.
Like if people aren't that into it, there's only so much you can do. Like your narrating can be incredible, your gameplay can be incredible, but if your players aren't like getting into it, they aren't acting with you, they aren't role playing with you, then there's a little something to be lacking. But all of my friends that I play with are theater majors or
Mm.
love theater, so they get super into it. And it saturates the story. It fully immerses everyone and makes it just that much more fun for me at least.
Mhm. I feel like, and it is similar with just like live theater that like when the audience is into it, it makes it all so much better. Like if the audience is just sitting there, stone faced the whole time, and you're just like you have no reaction at all. Like it's very hard to like I've only ever done comedies too, so like if an audience is not
Mhm.
laughing, I'm like, great, this is the worst feeling I've ever felt.
Truly, the attitude and energy of an audience affects the attitude and energy of a show,
Mhm.
regardless of whatever show it is. And if I hear people reacting verbally in the audience, like I got a gasp during
Oh
one
yeah.
show, we had our big twist, and someone just went, oh, best feeling as an
Hmm.
actor. And especially when it's just like one person's like one little moment, if that moment is impactful for them, I did my job.
Hmm. Yeah, which yeah, that's also I anytime I can get my players to like gasp or react to something I do, like that's like I'm like cool, I can go home now. Like I can like game over, we're good. I
Ah,
don't need to do anything else.
thanks, guys. That was a great session.
Hmm. Um,
Truly.
and do you find specifically with like directing, like kind of having that knowledge and that experience, has that played into your DMing? Like, do you find it like a similar vibe, like directing the show versus DMing a group of players?
For me, directing is I provide the bare bones and then my actors through like communication and collaboration like form all the muscles, like get
Hmm.
make the body very specifically. Whereas I feel like it's flip-flopped. My players provide like the bare bones, like they provide like their character lore, their character personalities and things like that, and then it's my job to add the flourishes, it's my job to add the bells and whistles and things like that. So I feel like my DMing style and my directing style are quite opposites, but I've discovered that being both has helped me be a better other. So being a director has helped me be a better DM. Being a DM has helped me be a better director. Yeah, and I've also just gotten better at improv. So now it's a lot more go with the flow, which has helped me just in everyday life.
Yeah, I think yeah, there's something to be said about um, getting into D&D and TTRPGs and that helping like I've seen it help build like confidence in people. I think just
Hmm.
getting that improv, that yes and nature, you're kind of like, oh, I can yes and in real life. I can just go with the flow and kind of like, make things happen. It's like, oh, I just killed a dragon. I can do anything. Like I think it's that sort of vibe.
And the fact that there is most of the time no wrong answer to whatever
Hmm.
you do, that I've loved watching a player's body language like kind of change from closed off and they sit up a little bit and
Hmm.
now like their elbows are on their knees and they're like getting really into it. It's so nice to see people evolve throughout the campaign.
Yeah, like yeah, seeing someone get actually nervous when they're rolling dice is my
Yes!
favorite thing.
Oh,
Like you're like, oh, I'm giving these people consequences. They're like feeling it. It's so good.
it's so evil, but it's just
Hmm.
such a reinvigorating feeling. Ah,
Yeah. Um, so I want to talk about how your experience kind of in the TTRPG creator space, like on TikTok and stuff like that, like how you started off with your Percy Jackson, your cosplay and stuff. Did it just kind of naturally then transition into talking about your TTRPG stuff as well, or was there some defining moment?
yeah, so my like videos was more so, and I talked with some of my other friends online about this. Oh, it's very much so. I don't want to say it was out of sheer boredom, but because we were all indoors, it was something I could explore and um, try out new things. And I found a space for me to do it relatively safely. Like people were encouraging it, people were liking it. And so that was the conduit for my boredom
Hmm.
more so. And then once I got into college, because COVID happened right before I went to school.
Hmm.
So I was home for the summer and then I went off and I met all these new found new things I like doing, such as TTRPGs and things like that. And my schedule consistently got more and more busy. I couldn't dedicate 3 to 4 hours of my night getting into cosplay, filming videos, editing videos, all those things. I started not replacing, but cosplay slowly went away and D&D slowly came in
Hmm.
because I was playing more with my friends and we would send each other little meme videos and then I would jokingly make meme videos for them just about our little campaigns that we were doing. And they said, those are funny. You should post those. So eventually I started, like, I posted one and people thought it was funny. And I was like, oh, okay. Do another one. So yeah, it's kind of now that D&D has taken up a little bit more of my time, that is something I devote more of my content to. Plus, it's much easier making TTRPG content rather than cosplay content for
Yeah.
me now because I just set my phone up on this little shelf. I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, funny audio, mouthing along, writing captions, boom,
Done. Yeah.
easy peasy.
What would you say is your goal with your like TTRPG with your what action start over? What would you say? What would you say is your goal within the like TTRPG creator space? Do you just want to keep making funny videos, or like do you have a bigger goal in mind?
Yeah, I would love to be able to record all of my sessions with my players because the people I play with are incredibly funny. They say some of the most wackadoodle things out of nowhere. We have so many wonderful moments. Like in the one shot I was doing most recently, we were in like a little gambling ring and one of my characters who was like an ex-gambler rolled a nat 20, but it was like 5 minutes of hype and build up to that moment.
Mhm.
I would love to be able to record little snippets of campaigns and maybe post full things like on Spotify, on YouTube, or something like that. But as of right now, I just like posting my little meme content. It makes people laugh. It makes my players laugh. And that brings me joy. That's all I can ask for.
Cool. Um, that's all the questions I have for you. I need to just check one thing really quick. Search for. Okay, cool. There was like a little blip for a second. I was like, oh god, is the Wi-Fi going out? But it's fine. I don't think it picked up in the recording. Um,
Great.
yeah. Uh, and I guess now we can move on to the game I have planned for you.
I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited.
Oh, I think you're gonna kill it. You're gonna do great. Uh, so,
Yeah.
so I have a game for you that I am calling Manual or Manuel. Uh, in here, I have 5 quotes. Some are from TTRPG manuals. Some are from, renowned playwright lyricist Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm
Yes,
going.
of course.
I'm going to read you these quotes, and you're going to tell me which is which. Are you ready?
Okay. Sure.
So yeah, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you?
So, my school did In the Heights about 2 years ago. I've seen the original Broadway cast of Hamilton. I don't know the manual as well as I should, so I'm gonna say like a 3.5, like a little over halfway there.
Okay. Yeah, and it's all a bunch of different manuals too. It's not even just D&D manual. So
Ooh,
yeah.
all right.
All right. Number 1. People will go to great lengths to feel like they belong, even if it means making self-destructive choices along the way.
Oh, I'm gonna say that's the manual.
That's correct. That is from the manual for Monster Hearts, second edition, in their
Ooh,
section
yeah.
titled Belonging and Difference. Does that make sense? Yeah. Um, I also say it's also not just lyrics quotes, too. It's like quotes that he said outside of things as well.
Okay,
So,
cool, cool, cool.
um,
Now we're at like a 3. Like we're
okay, going
hovering
down
around.
a little bit. All right, all right. Um, quote number 2. But some people are mean enough, smart enough, crazy enough, or hurt enough to want to live.
I think that's Manuel. I think that's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That is also a manual. That is
Dang it!
from
Oh,
that is from the introduction to Monster of the Week First Edition.
oh, I've been meaning to get into Monster of the Week. Okay,
It's so
cool.
good,
That,
so
that's
fun.
my sign to actually get
Yeah,
into Monster of the Week. Great, great, great.
great. Quote number 3: History is so subjective. The teller of it determines it.
That one, I think you're trying to throw me for a loop. It sounds like it would be from a manual, but I'm gonna say it's Manuel.
It is that is Lin Manuel Miranda. He said that in an interview in oh, I thought I read it. It was 2016, I believe. So yeah,
Mm, very
uh,
nice.
yeah. Quote number 4: Throughout the course of a story, a great many things will happen to the characters.
Ooh. In its simplicity, just its bluntness, I'm gonna say that's the manual.
That's correct. That is from Dread, in their section Dealing with Consequences.
Ooh,
If you don't know
nice.
Dread is a game where you play with a Jenga tower. It's so
Oh,
fun.
that's sick.
Yeah, look it up after. It's so fun. It's so good
Making mental
for
notes.
Halloween.
Construct a weed.
Yeah. Um, Final quote. I think what is it? Have gotten 3 out of 4. So this is our last one. Some loyalists have fled the colonies, but others work tirelessly for King George and the British.
Ah, again, I think you're trying to throw me for a loop. I'm gonna say that's want me to say Manuel because you're talking about the colonies, but I'm gonna say the manual.
Correct. That is from the game Flames of Freedom, which is a
Yes!
gothic horror TTRPG about the Revolution. In their creating character section.
Writing that one down as well.
Yeah. And congratulations, you got 4 out of 5. You win
Yeah.
the satisfaction of knowing that you know both TTRPGs and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
You get bragging rights.
You can bring that to the bank for sure. Um, so yeah, last couple things. Are there any big projects or things that we need to be looking out for from you on the horizon?
Um, that's kind of a loaded question because now that I'm about to graduate, yes, there's things you should be looking out for, but not necessarily like D&D things. But maybe I think I'm going to talk to this upcoming campaign to get like more audio clips, things I can post like other media other than just making meme content. So potentially I might have something lined up. We shall see.
Well, keep an eye out for any of that for sure.
Yes.
We're going to finish off all of our interviews in this little interview series with what we call the TTRPG Spotlight Time, where we have our guests talk about
Yes.
something in the TTRPG space that they are excited for and want other people to also be excited for. So, what do you have to shine a spotlight on for us today?
Oh, yes. I have been getting into Worlds Beyond Number. It is a long form podcast hosted by Brennan Lee Mulligan, Abria Iyengar, Lou Wilson, and Erica Ishii. Possibly four of the funniest, most witty, most capable, craziest TTRPG players I've seen. They're all delightful. They have podcasts up on Spotify. They just wrapped Arc 1, their first campaign.
Mhm.
They're about to start Arc 2 very soon. And then they have like little funny one shots for people who subscribe to their Patreon. I have to shout them out. I've been loving all of their content as of late. I'm very excited for Arc 2 of their new campaign. But yeah, it's free on Spotify. They release stuff like every other Tuesday, I
Mhm.
believe. So yes,
Let's do
please
say,
go
yeah.
listen to Worlds Beyond Number. It is so wonderful. I talk about it nonstop. Mwah.
So good. Their Patreon also has their fireside chats, which are so fun,
Yes!
where they
Oh
just
my
talk about
gosh!
so many things, honestly, but like about the campaign and like future events and stuff.
Mhm.
Thank you for shining
And
a
they're about
spotlight.
to release yes, and they're about to release Brendan Lee Mulligan and Erica Ishii created a new class for this
Hmm.
previous
The
campaign.
Witch, right?
It's Witch class,
Yeah.
yes. And they're about to release like all of this, like you can play as a
Hmm.
witch because they're about to release like all of the background information, all of the character information. So you can take what they have created, what they have homebrewed, and bring it into your own campaigns. Which, if someone will let me play as a witch, I just want to be a witch so badly. It just sounds
It's
so
you
cool.
can't really. I'm wearing my Salem shirt or
Oh,
sweater, so I'm yeah would love to play a witch for sure. But yeah,
Oh,
thank
my
you.
first horror campaign
Hmm.
is like Appalachian folklore horror. So it's
Yeah.
very much so like over the garden wall, autumnal,
Hmm.
witchy kind of vibes. So I just think it fits my personality a little bit.
Well, thank you for shining a spotlight on something you're looking forward to.
Yes,
That
of
is,
course.
yeah, that wraps us up for this interview. Sign us, tell us where we can find you all across the internet.
Yeah, you can find me at Residentsallyjackson on TikTok and Instagram. I don't really use Instagram anymore, but primarily TikTok is where you can find me.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you, Caroline, so much for joining us. As always, I have been Dan the Baker. Thank you, everyone, for watching Open Table Adventures. And you are always welcome to pull up a seat. Have a good day.